भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
I offer my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Master, Teacher of all teachers, our Mother and our Father, Sri Satya Sai Baba. Dear Swami, thank you for bringing us all together here in this holy place of Prashanti Nilayam. Thank you for blessing us with your presence on day one of this extraordinary conference yesterday. And we ask you for your guidance, your inspiration, your love and bliss for this second day. You are the Master, and we are willingly following you on the pathway you have laid out for us. Om Sai Ram. Respected elders, distinguished members of the Prashanti Council, directors of the Sri Satya Sai World Foundation, members of the International Educational Committee of the Satya Sai International Organization, dear children who are around, dear brothers and sisters, gathered here in Purnachandra Hall and outside on the live video stream, a loving Sai Ram to all of you. This is now the second day of this outstanding event. And day two sometimes is a challenge. When you compare it to an expedition, trying to conquer a huge mountain, on day one, you have been provided with all the food and all the equipment you will need. And then you left the base camp at the foot of the mountain. Today, we are right in the middle of this stony wall, with no view on the ground any longer, and not yet seeing the top of the hill. So, probably you will need some orientation for this day, some guidance, and I'm very pleased to be your MC for this very day. My name is Manfred Müller-Granse. I serve as a central coordinator in Zone 7 of the Sathya Sai International Organization in Northern Europe, I myself coming from Germany. Today's program offers us the chance to listen to 4 incredible speakers. And I would like them to come up and come to the dais now. And this is Mrs. Sai Ram. It is Dr. Lalin Reddy. It is Mr. George Bibidelis. And right now I can't see him, but it will be Rainer Bender, whom you have seen yesterday already. Let us welcome all of them with a warm applause. And this dais would not be complete without having the chairman of the Prashanti Council and the director of the Sathya Sai World Foundation, Dr. Narendranath Reddy, on the dais. And I would like to have the chairman of the International Educational Committee of the Sathya Sai International Organization, Dr. Paul Dahl, also joining the dais. Once again, some announcements have to be made. First of all, please respect the carpet right in the middle being laid out to honor our beloved Lord Sathya Sai. And don't step on it. And if you have to cross the sides, please take the back way. Second, this is the best moment now to switch off your mobile phones in order not to disturb the conference and for technical reasons, because as we already mentioned, this is going to be live streamed and sometimes the technique is going to be irritated. Third, if there are any questions, feel free to contact the help desk. They will do whatever they can in order to help you out of the situation. And last but not least, please refrain from taking photographs from Sai Purnachandra Hall. The rights are given away, and I am quite sure there will be many occasions to get these photos afterwards. So let's come back to our conference now. We have these very honorable guests sitting here in front. And we have these beautiful speakers for today. But even more important are you, the almost 500 delegates who have come here to attend this gathering in Prashanti Nilayam from all over the world. And let me tell you something. Yesterday, the day was pretty crowded and we had some changes in the program. And you probably recognize that Rainer Bender, who was sitting here, we couldn't put him in to give us his talk. We still apologize for that because you will have the chance to listen to him today. But when we had the lunch break and we had announced that there are special lines for the conference delegates, I went to the Western canteen and I was late. And there was already a long line waiting there. And I knew I had to hurry back because several things had to be arranged. So I went along this line, and right in front of the meals I said, "Oh, sorry, sir, I have to step in because I have to go back." And this delegate looked at me and said, "Well, we are all important." And I felt a bit ashamed. And I didn't have the time to explain. But it was right what he said. It is not only that you are important, you are most important. Because you are the ones who are going to spread Swami's message all over the world. You are the ones who are going to educate our children. What can be more important than you? But let me just check where we are right now. Is there anybody on the men's side coming from the region of South Africa? Oh, up there. Up there. Can you stand up, please? What is your name, sir? Oh, thank you very much. I would like to ask you 3 questions. The first question is, have you been inspired by the talks given yesterday? The answer was yes. Second question, have you been encouraged to go one step further in your work for the Sai education by the workshops that have been given yesterday? Okay. And third, did you at least speak to one other person you did not know beforehand?
Well, I spoke to the person during our session in the afternoon.
Okay. So there is 3 times the answer of yes, and we didn't train that. And that means for me you are an exemplar for the delegates of this conference, because you already picked up the spirit of this conference, which is about sharing, cooperation, and unity. So let us all feel that we are one body, one head, one heart, and hands ready to do your work. Om Sai Ram. Brothers and sisters, it is now a very special moment for me, because I have the honor and the pleasure to announce the keynote speaker of today. And I've been told that this is a wonderful person, and you would love to listen to her for all day long. Unfortunately, we have to stop her in between. But I tell you right now that in the evening, the special interest group of today will just be Mrs. Sai Ram addressing all of you. So, let me tell you who Mrs. Sai Ram is. Actually, she was named by Swami and had the great fortune of enjoying and experience the divine personality of our Lord from birth. Swami graced their home in Bangalore with his presence regularly, and Gita spent all her holidays, all the festivals with him. In Puttaparthi, when she was a teenager. She was one of the original Balvikas teachers trained and certified personally by Swami. And after receiving Swami's approval and blessings, Gita has been sharing her most wonderful experiences in different parts of the world, including the USA, UK, Canada, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and India for more than 18 years. When Swami directed her and her family to go to the USA, they settled in Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Gita taught kindergarten children in a private school for 17 years and was awarded the Best Teacher of the Year for 5 years in a row. So, what more can I say? Please welcome Mrs. Gita Ram.
Mukam karoti vachalam panghum langayate girim. Yat krupa tamaham vande paramananda madhavam. My loving salutations to Swami, our beloved Swami, who is always with us, wherever we are, wherever we go. I just repeated a prayer that he taught me many, many years ago as a child, which means, with your grace, the dumb can become eloquent. With your grace, the lame can climb the mountain. With your grace, everything is possible. Sai Ram to revered elders here, brothers and sisters, fellow teachers, and fellow passengers in this journey towards Swami. I thank Dr. Reddy and all of the other organizers here who have invited me to speak at this wonderful conference with gurus, teachers, as we say them in English, but yesterday a beautiful explanation for the word guru was given. All of us who have been given this responsibility in Swami's mission so that the future of this world is taken care of. I kind of go back in time. I'm of the generation of the Puttaparthi people when this Purna Chandra Hall was the shed. We called it the shed. And we came here in this shed with zinc sheets, hot, to see our beloved Swami do many things on this stage that was constructed by wooden benches. This was the shed where we came as children to hear the villagers surrounding this Puttaparthi drop stones and other noisy things on the zinc sheet and made it difficult for us to hear Swami's beloved words. I'm of the generation of Puttaparthi comers where there was no stupa, no building, no anything. There was a generator for Swami's building. And I stand here wondering how Swami has taken me through this journey and I have grown with this beautiful little village into this center of world events. You know, we have been talking, I heard all the wonderful speakers yesterday. I heard the organizers talk about the future of the program. And as I was thinking as to what I can possibly say, because Swami has given this very difficult job of not preparing what I say, I was continuously repeating his name and saying, you know, their biodatas were 3 pages long. All I have to say for myself is that I was fortunate enough to be born at a time in a family which made it possible for me to learn from him. So I was thinking, this is a SSE conference, Sai Spiritual Education Conference, and Dr. Dal yesterday said that if we want to have a future for this, we have to go out, Dr. Suresh Govind as well, said that we have to go out and get into the society to impact. And as I was thinking about their talks, I thought that I must tell you about my Balavikas Guru. He was my Balavikas Guru. And I thought these qualities that he showed me when I was a child, when I was group 3, group 4 age, when I was a youth, is worth recollecting for myself too. My Balavikas Guru used to come to my house, used to give interviews, used to do wondrous things that we couldn't believe. But when he was with us children, he was interested in us. He wanted to know what we were up to. And we were bored of his interviews and his long discourses to the other devotees when I was 4 or 5 or 6. He played snakes and ladders with us, with my cousin and I. Every time he played snakes and ladders, he won. Because the dice gave him the numbers that he wanted. So like other children that I'm sure you have seen in your class, we didn't want this child to play with us, this grown child to play with us. So my cousin and I told him, we don't want you to play with us. So one day he said, no, I will play like you. Now as a Balavikas Guru, we may have much more worldly knowledge than that child, that innocent child. But to go down to the child's level is important, isn't it? I'm sure you all agree with me. So he played snakes and ladders, or shoots and ladders as it's called in the West. He went up the ladder and he came down the snake along with us. And then there was that long snake at number 99 coming down to number 2. So we hoped that he would hit that snake. He was waiting at 98 for his turn. But sure enough, he got that much craved number 2 and he was on 100. So my cousin and I looked at him and we said, you won again. He said, yes, life is a game. You go up ladders, you come down snakes. But if you have the dice of the Lord in your hands, He will make you cross those snakes and climb those ladders easily, and you will reach the end of your game very successfully. So he was my group 1 teacher. If I am a group 1 teacher, I better be playing with my children rather than giving them some lectures. Then he was my group 2 teacher. There was no Balavikas, there was not even the name of this Balavikas, or SSE, or SSE. There was nothing, but he was still my group 2 teacher. What did my group 2 teacher do? He used to come to my house regularly. He talked with the adults and he talked with the elders, but he knew everything about me. Every time he walked into my bedroom, he saw all the Enid Blyton books that I was reading of those days. He looked at those books and he wanted to know what was so interesting about Enid Blyton books. He said, Swami, there are mysteries and things to be solved. Oh. He said, isn't it very interesting? Have you read something in that book that you didn't understand? And I remember telling him, I grew up in Bangalore. Swami, they describe a lot of buttercups and bluebells in the English countryside. Oh. And showing his immense knowledge, he brought out and materialized a bluebell and a buttercup to show me. Do you know what it looks like? What is the point of reading something if you didn't experience it? So he was my group 2 teacher. He wanted me to experience some of the things that I was reading as long as they were good books. And then he challenged me in a very funny way. He said, I know you're reading all these books, Bangaru, but have you read Rajaji's Ramayana? Have you read Mother Teresa's book about service? There are lots of books for children about them, of Sri Ramakrishna, of Sri Vivekananda, of Jesus Christ. Have you read? No, I said, I haven't. Well, you should read that, and the next time I come, maybe there will be some scenes in there that you don't understand, and I can tell you about it. So you can imagine my level of preparation in case there were some more bluebells and buttercups to be seen. So that was my group 2 teacher, who participated in my interest of reading books and knew exactly what I read, but wanted to challenge me into reading something more interesting, more worthy of the cause that he had planned for his devotees. And then he became my group 3 teacher. Oh, that difficult time. I was a teenager. I had heard every discourse. I had read all the books that he had told me, and I still felt I wanted to go to the movies. I was a Group 3 student. At that time, I remember him encouraging me as a 12 or a 13-year-old to take on some responsibilities. It wasn't enough to read. It wasn't enough to play games. He gave me some responsibility. He said, every day there are a lot of garlands on all these pictures in Vrindavan. By now you would have guessed who my teacher is. Everybody garlands this divine Guru, and it's put on all the various pictures in the Vrindavan of old days. It was an old English bungalow, where the middle of that bungalow was the prayer hall, where in the evenings, Swami after darshan would come and sit down and give talks to those who had been there all day long. And he said, do you mind just removing all those garlands every day when you come here? Clean up that altar, because every day there are so many garlands and the dry flowers are falling all over. So he gave me that responsibility. He gave me a responsibility. So whether I wanted it or not, I wanted to be the one who was taking off those garlands and putting on those beautiful new garlands every day. So I was present there every day. It's important to give responsibilities, isn't it? When we become worthy of them. The right kind of responsibility. So I was cleaning these garlands. I'm sure some of you have heard this. I think it's worth repeating. I kept doing this job for days on end, week after week, weekend after weekend, and it was a commitment that I had given to Swami. He asked me, will you do it? I said, yes. And then came one weekend when I wanted to attend a music concert of M.S. Subbalakshmi. I'm sure you have heard this before in one place or the other where I may have spoken, but I think it's worth repeating. Because I remember once I told Swami, how can I go on repeating the same experiences everywhere? And in very sweet Telugu, he said, 60 ఏండ్లుగా చెప్తున్నాను 10 ఏండ్లకే బేజారయిందా? I have been talking for 60 years. Are you already tired after 10? He said. So here I am repeating my experience. So there was one weekend that I did not want to go to Vrindavan to clean these garlands around Swami's pictures because I wanted to attend a music concert. And Swami spent a lot of time in Bangalore in those days because the college was coming up. So, or at least the planning for the college was coming up. So I told my mother that I didn't want to go one particular weekend. Just like we have many students who don't want to come to our SSE classes because they have something else that's much more interesting. So I said I didn't want to go. My mother told me, you cannot go back on your commitment. This is what Suresh Govind yesterday, brother, was saying, that involving the parents. Swami involved my parents. He told my mother, every Sunday, make sure you bring her to clean up those garlands. So my mother said, you have committed, you have to go. So I came with a long face to Vrindavan and did my job, banging those pictures around, trying to clean it. And Swami gave darshan and came around. And we had a routine in those days. After darshan, Swami would come in Vrindavan and sit on that chair. And all my aunts and uncles, and there was no Sevadal or anybody. We were just us who cleaned and did the gardening or whatever. And Swami would come and sit there and he would ask everybody, Emi Samacharam, what news, what have you done all day, what work was done today or whatever. It went on for about 20 minutes, which would then digress into a little talk by Swami, and then it would end with bhajan, with Swami singing the bhajans. So it would be about an hour and a half program after darshan every evening, especially so on the weekends. So that day, I was cleaning and banging these pictures around when Swami, before going to darshan, came and said, why do you have such a castor oil face today? You're banging my poor pictures so much. Well, I could hardly tell him that I didn't want to come and do his work for him because I wanted to attend a music concert. So I didn't answer. So I said, no, tell me, did mummy force you to come? Did amma force you to come? He was a smart SSE Guru. He took my side, making me feel as though he was on my side against my own mother, who had actually stopped me from going to the concert. So I immediately felt, here is my friend who understands my heart. And I said, yes, Swami. She insisted that I come here today. Oh, poor you. he's really on my side, this SSE teacher. So I said, yes, I wanted to go to MS Subbulakshmi's concert, but because MS Subbulakshmi comes once a year, he's always here in Brindavan. What's the problem? If not today, I can go see him tomorrow. So he said, this is the problem with commitment. When you give it, you have to keep it. So here's what we'll do. After the darshan today, we'll finish off our evening program really quickly, and then maybe you can attend part of the concert. When does it start? It starts at 7 o'clock. Oh, darshan is over by 5:30. So by the time I come in and send everybody off, it'll be 6:30. It takes about 45 minutes to get into Bangalore city. It was then. Now it takes a longer time. And you'll be able. So I was thrilled that this guru of mine could understand my interest in the arts, the music that I loved, that he was willing to cut short his long lecture to send me off. So I was sitting there and all my cousins were the singers. So told all the cousins, look you all, when Swami asks you to sing bhajans today, stick with Nandalala or something like that. No Manasa Bhajare and Sai Bhajana Bina and all those long bhajans, which never seem to end. So they said, all right. And they also had a kind of a strange interest to go to the concert, though they didn't have the courage because I was young and innocent and I could express it to Swami. So we sat there and Swami finished his darshan and came and sat down. And he very lovingly asked everybody, Emi Samacharam? What news? And the minute that question is asked, just like our SSE class, everybody wanted to answer. Everybody wanted to be the attention of that guru. So they all started to tell every last news that they ever had in their life. So I'm looking at the clock. And Swami didn't seem to keep his promise. He said, okay, let's have bhajans. I'm looking at my watch. I was given a watch. In those days, there were times when parents gave you those watches. You had to pass the 7th grade to get a simple watch. You had to pass the 10th grade to get a better one. So we all had different time when we got these things. So I had this really very, very simple watch and there was a big clock there. Looked at it. What is he doing? But I had to sit. He was speaking. You couldn't interrupt the teacher. And then suddenly, in the middle of all this confusion and mental agitation, Swami got up and he walked out saying, I'll be back in a few minutes. And the few minutes turned into about 10 minutes and he walked back into that dining room prayer hall. And who should be following him but this MS Subbulakshmi who was supposed to be giving a concert in Bangalore. And she walks in with her whole entourage, with the violinist and the mridangist and the percussion guys and everybody. And I'm looking, what's going on? She was an ardent devotee of Swami. Swami brought her, made her sit down and said, Eppadi irke Subbulakshmi, how are you? Swami, I came to have your darshan. Said, very happy. Was your concert not today in Bangalore? No, Swami, there was a mistake in the newspaper. It is tomorrow. So Swami, my guru, he said, there is a young girl here and the others who've been longing to listen to your songs, but because of the work that I have given, they had to sacrifice and stay here. Would you mind singing a few songs? She had tears in her eyes and she said, oh my goodness, Swami, do you have to ask me to sing? Whatever you ask me to sing, I will sing. And Swami chose 8 or 9 songs that were my favorites for her to sing. And here was the Lord, and there we were, 25 people sitting at his feet, getting an exclusive concert from this world eminent musician. And when she finished, he said, some people really, they make a lot of sacrifices when they commit to a bigger thing. He told her, not to me. I learned my lesson about commitment. So that was my group 3 teacher. Made me sacrifice, made sure I kept my commitment, but made it look as though it was the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me. And it did. So then, I was this young adult. Neither in the adult group nor in the small SSE group. I was 14 or 15. There were no groups at that time, as I told you. Suddenly one day, Swami in 1969, I don't know if you all know the origin of this whole program that you're all sitting here. In 1969, 9 ladies, my mother being one of them, were sitting in Brindavan chatting away while their husbands or family members were inside talking to Swami. And Swami came out and said, "What are you all women doing here?" They were all just chatting. He said, "Why are you all wasting time? Why don't you gather a few children around you in your neighborhood and start teaching them some stories, telling them some stories, teaching them some devotional songs?" So this was 1969, no name SSE. So these ladies were given, auntie over here, Mrs. Srinivasan, will remember those days. Saraswati Natarajan, Kamala Padmanabhan, my mother, Padma Srinivasan, all of these 9 ladies who were my elders started these classes. So that went on within the home-based Balavikas till about 71 or 72. And then Swami officialized it and called it Balavihar originally and changed it to Balavikas later. And asked my mother to become the state coordinator for the state of Karnataka, to go to small towns all over Karnataka and convince the men to send their wives to become gurus. They were small towns. The ladies were not allowed to come out of their homes to teach. So he had given my mother the job and said, "You go and talk to the men in the Seva Samitis." At that time, the centers were called as Seva Samitis. Tell them to send the ladies out of their homes. In the beginning, it was all ladies. It's so wonderful to see our brothers here as gurus now to do. So when he decided that, I was, remember, just about to pass out of that group 3 age. And my mother said, "Swami, I'm already doing this home-based, between 69 and 71, the home-based class at home. Who is going to teach?" Here she is. She's been listening all her life. She's going to teach. And I was 14 and a half years old. I said, "You're talking to me?" He said, "Yes, I'm talking to you. You're going to be 15. I said, "Nobody will listen to me. The children in the class are my friends." He said, "When you cross the line and come over to this side, you have to play the role of a guru. They are no longer your friends when they're in your class. Wear a sari, prepare yourself, sit there, practice, talk." This was the advice that Swami gave me. Play the role. What does play the role mean? Does it mean just for that 1 hour in class when we sit there? Or does it mean wherever we are? Because the children are watching. I used to watch Swami. I used to watch him. He said, "Love those animals." I saw him saying, "Vaddu Gita" to that Sai Gita. Every time she put her trunk around his neck, Swami would sweetly say, telling, "No, Gita, you will get your saliva on my clothes. No, Gita, no, Gita." I was a target of many jokes after Sai Gita arrived in Puttaparthi as a small elephant. He would say, "I named her after you. I didn't name you after her. So don't become her size." Vaddu Gita, with so much love, allowing her the embrace, but telling her, "Stay there, don't get my clothes." So there is a line between the guru and the taught and the teacher. He showed me that. So that was my Balavikas guru. So here I was, suddenly now, given a huge responsibility to teach. Yesterday, one of the talks that we talked about was how do we make SSE children take on the responsibility and come back? This is what he did to me. He made me love him so much that I wanted to come back. If we love our teachers, so how did he do that? He knew everything about me. He knew that I was wasting time on the way home from college one day drinking sugarcane juice instead of coming home and preparing for an education in human values talk that I had to give when I was in college. Mrs. Kalyani Sundaram was leading the program then in Karnataka. We were going out to the college, to the schools, the government schools, to train those teachers. And Swami had chosen me to be one of the speakers when I was in the first year of my college. And I was supposed to prepare on a talk on dharma. righteousness, right conduct. And I spent about an hour and a half drinking sugarcane juice on the roadside near my college. I was pulled up, and he said, there were 3 things that you did wrong. First of all, you drank on the street where it was not clean. 2, you wasted time instead of preparing. 3, your mother was worried because you didn't come home on time. So he knew everything about me, what I was doing, who my friends were. I remember once saying, why are you never bringing your friends to Puttaparthi? Bring them. They're not devotees, Swami. So what? Bring them. They'll come because they're friends with you. So he was involved in every part. So as an SSE teacher, I learned that I better know my children, each and every one of them. I better know them. I remember once I had 70 Balavikas children by myself, from the age group of 5 to the age group of 14, and I was 17. I was very proud of my class because I was young and I understood those young minds. I played with them, I laughed with them, I listened to their stories in school. I didn't scold them if they told me something about their teacher that they shouldn't be telling me. I would say, it's all right. That's one teacher. I was very proud of it. And when Swami came to my parents' home, he said, how many children do you have in Balavikas? I said, Swami, 70 children. How old? I said, from 5 years to 15, Swami. I was very proud of my class. Now I had taken on the role of a guru in his mission. I was very proud of it. Oh, 70 children? Devotees? No. I know only 4 are devotees. So my dear brothers and sisters, out of the 70 children, only 4 were devotee family children. The problems that we face now, whether going out into the community or within, were the same in 1970. It was just happening in India, that's all. Swami was not so well known then. Swami's programs were not so well known then. So it was up to us to make them interested. So I was very proud. The following month, Swami used to come every month to dinner to our house. The following month he came, and you will not believe it, the minute my ego as this wonderful educator had gone up, my Bal Vikas had reduced to those 4 children and all the other 66 children had left, and I have no idea why. Nobody showed up. Class after class, nobody showed up. I would actually wait. Instead of starting my class at 3:30, I would wait till about 3:40 to see if somebody would show up. Only the 4 showed up. And I taught. The following month, Swami said, "Entamandi unnaru? How many children do you have?" Only 4. Why? I have no idea, Swami. I don't know why. What type of a guru are you? He said. You should know why. Have you visited their homes? Have you talked to the parents? Have you talked to their siblings? No. By the time I come back next month, you better know why. I visited 70 homes. I told each and every parent what the Balavikas program was about. I talked to the children and asked them what it was that had made them lose interest. And by the time a month and a half had gone by, they all came back. So he taught me what to do. If the children don't come or they're not interested. And then I remember, now we have all the visual aids. I'm not at all good with technology. When Brother Srinivas Raghavan asked me, do you need anything for the screen? I said, I hope all the gurus who sit in front of me have fertile imagination, because I don't know how to use technology. But the imagination is the most beautiful thing that the human being has. And we have to use that to develop the imagination in the child. And so I remember, I was supposed to go with Professor Kasturi to a place called Davangere and give a talk on storytelling, which was a part of the Guru's training in the curriculum. We talked about curriculum yesterday. So I thought all these old Balavikas gurus, the trainers, they're constantly giving these lectures. Who's interested? I know, because I'm 19 years old and I'm not interested in these lectures. So I'm sure those gurus are not interested either. So I prepared a whole lot of visual aids, which I had learnt as an early childhood student. I did early childhood development as my major in college. So as one of the students, I decided that visual aids were wonderful, and they are. So I prepared a whole lot of visual aids and I went and I did my lecture on storytelling. We came back to Puttaparthi with Professor Kasturi, who was then the state president of Karnataka, and we all sat here, and Swami called Professor and said, "How did your training camp go?" He said, "It was very nice, Swami." "Who told the storytelling?" Swami asked. "Who talked about storytelling?" So he said, "Geeta did." He said, "Did she do a good job?" He said, "She did a very good job, Swami," is what he said. So he called me into the interview room with the other gurus and he said, "Visual aids are wonderful, isn't it? It attracts the children's eyes. But what about your imagination? Why didn't you use that? Why didn't you understand that there are some children in the class who cannot sit still and just look at your pictures? Why didn't you talk to those gurus, to those children? If the gurus have to be trained, they have to know their children. Who can focus, who cannot focus?" So you have to use both methods, and I think I had just used the puppets. You have to use both methods. So everything came back to knowing your child, each and every one of them. So that was my young adult training by Swami. And then I became an adult. I was very happy to be a part of his SSE program, his Balavikas program. I did training to government teachers. I did training here and I did training there. But there was one thing that I needed, I suppose. Though I had grown up with all this faith and love for Swami, I needed to learn to surrender. Unless we surrender to Swami and say, "Swami, before every single class, every single thing that we do, he will respond to us." So I had this awful child, I shouldn't say awful, but I was an awful child. In my class, every teacher will know, who gave so much trouble in the class that I decided that that's it. I cannot be a teacher anymore. I'm not worthy of being this teacher of this kindergarten child in my Washington, D.C. school. He comes into class, bites the children. He comes into class, beats them with the hard blocks. The last straw was when he hit some child and he needed 14 stitches. And I had prided myself to be a wonderful teacher. But nothing was working. I remember going back home on a Thursday evening and telling Swami, "You told me to become a teacher. If I fail, remember, you're my teacher, you fail too." I remember telling him that to his picture. And I said, "I don't know why you asked me to do this. You say that these children are all your prema putras, children who come to you because you love them. Your own children are kama putras, who are born to you because you desire to have children. But these children in your care are prema putras. Forget about having love for this child. I don't even like him. He doesn't even come down with chicken pox when all the children come down. The only child in my class, the worst of the lot, never got chicken pox. Never got a cold. He was there every single day." So I prayed to Swami, "I cannot do this anymore, Swami. This is it for me." But I prayed and I said, "I don't know what I'm doing wrong. If you don't think I'm worthy of being an instrument, whether I'm a kindergarten teacher or an SSE teacher, let me know. I have no problem." So I wrote a resignation letter to my director, who was never there the next day in school. So I ended up hanging on to that. And this child walked into my class and said, "Hi, Miss Geeta, do I look good today?" So I said, I don't know why I said it. I said, "Yes, you look beautiful on the outside. I wish you would be beautiful on the inside too." Now this was a handsome little fellow, 5 years old, unfortunately from a broken home. He walked away, and 1 year as a teacher is waiting for the next skull to be hit with a hard block, while all the other children were coming into my class. And suddenly he comes back to me and says, "So, what does being handsome inside mean?" Wow, he heard me. He heard me for the first time, and I said, so I went into lecture mode. "Oh, you've got to be good, you've got to see good, you've got to do good, you've got to be friends with her." And he said, yeah, being handsome inside sucks, he said. I'll never forget that. He said, "Being handsome inside sucks." I said, "Well, yeah, So he went away. And then he came back 5 minutes and said, "So what do I got to do to be handsome inside?" He was very, very focused on being handsome. So it went on from there, and that boy, for some reason, it went into his head, with the Guru, the Jagat Guru's grace. We were out in the thing, my director never came back for a week, so I had a 1 week time with this boy. And he was outside playing in the playground, and he came back and says, Miss Geeta, 2 kids over there not being very handsome inside. What are they doing? They're hitting each other for that tricycle. Want me to do something about it? I'm like, no. What would you do? Well, I could bash one of their heads. No, don't bash their heads. I'll go talk to them. So from understanding it, looking at other kids, and internalizing it, 3 or 4 days went by when the child was coming and telling me every time he had the urge to do something wrong, Miss Geeta, can I hit Ryan now? He's not sharing his blocks. No, how about talking to Ryan? So it went from there, and this beautiful child changed. He changed. And then he left my class and he went on. 5 years later, as a 5th grader, he came back at Christmas time to give me some flowers. Said, hi, Miss Geeta. He had grown taller than me. You can see that I'm standing on a little stool to address all of you. He had grown taller than me. He said, guess what, Miss Geeta? I've got a job at school. I said, oh, really? Yeah, I've got a job at school. Outside, when we are doing recess, we're playing outside. I am the conflict resolver. My teachers have given me that job. I'm going to grow up and be a conflict resolver. I came back that year to Puttaparthi, and Swami, with his infinite grace, called me in. How is the rowdy? He asked me, how is the rowdy? I said, Swami, I don't know what happened to him, but he changed. He said, if all else fails as a guru, surrender to the Jagat Guru. Surrender to the Jagat Guru. I scolded him. I said, if I'm a bad teacher, so are you. And he told that to the other people in the interview room. She thinks I'm a bad teacher. So that was my adult training by Swami. Surrender, 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 pray to him. Have infinite faith in him, because as gurus we have to have infinite faith, not only in him. Swami said a beautiful thing, you have to have faith, but you have to have faith in your faith. You have to have self-confidence in your faith, and that will take you across. And then that guru, whoever is that guru, never breaks his promise. We tell a child, come on next week and I'll tell you a story about something. And then you're so busy with your mundane life, we forget to prepare. And you come and sit in the class, and that little child will say, Miss Geeta, you told me you'll tell us a story. And I'm like, oh, did I? Yeah, remember last week you said you'll tell us a story. And I'm racking my brains thinking, what was it that I told this child? Why am I racking my brains? Should I not have remembered that? Is that child not important? Is that child not waiting? Because he thinks that the teacher is going to deliver with love to him whatever he wanted to know. But I didn't do my job. So there have been times when I've gone unprepared to a class. Oh, I've done classes for so many years. I'm sure I can go and do something on the fly. Not prepared. So he taught me a beautiful lesson. When we were young children, like I said, this was a different Puttaparthi. This was the shed. The road that you all take towards the general hospital, there was something known as the Karnika Patashala, where Swami's first school, the Vedic school that he started, was over there. That's where all the food for the Narayan Seva used to be cooked. That's where we as children in the heat of Puttaparthi had to stand and carry the dishes to Swami so that he could serve. What does a guru do? He shows by example. My picture, when anybody says Narayan Seva, or when they say that we are going to go into the community and feed the poor, my picture is of that Swami with bare feet, bending, straightening, till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, without having his lunch, till every villager was fed in the heat of the sun. That is my guru. He did it himself. Bending, straightening, feeding them with rice, feeding with whatever it was that we had cooked there in that Karnik Pathshala. So that's what I watched. And there, now they said yesterday that they're telecasting this and it's being Skyped all over the world. My Puttaparthi, the biggest excitement in the 60s was the fact that Swami came to Bangalore and bought a second-hand printing machine in Bangalore to start the first Sanatana Sarathi. So Swami came, my father went with him. Somebody was selling a second-hand, used printing machine that was transported to the Stone Age village where you had to bring the whole thing by bullock cart, this huge machine. And Professor Kasturi, who the first Sanatana Sarathi went out in Telugu. Everything was written by Swami. There were no other articles by anybody. Swami wrote, that was printed in this machine. And then Professor Kasturi would translate it. I think the first it was into English and then later into other languages. Now, do you know, I don't think many of you would have even seen this old printing machine. It's probably in the antique museum somewhere. They have typeset where you have to set every word in the machine for the first page. Then you have to paint it with black ink. Then you have to take a sheet of paper and you feed it in. And then you have to roll the wheel and the sheet comes out. And lo and behold, you look at it, some word is spelt wrong. So you reset the whole thing, you repaint it, you refeed it, you re-roll it, and you take it out. Lo and behold, the ink gets smudged. So you do the whole exercise again. And Professor Kasturi, you know why Swami loved him so much? He did it himself. He would do it throughout the year with 1 or 2 young people just to help him. And my cousins and I would come here for the holidays. This was our holiday home. There were 8 rooms where there is South Prashanti. There were 14 eucalyptus trees under which we slept because the room was as big as these 2 podiums. And we would sleep there. And Swami would come to the back of his balcony of his room and shine his torch at us and say, Dunnapotala inka padukunnara? Buffaloes, are you still sleeping? And guess what the time was? 4 a.m. I'm like, what do you expect us to do, Get up. All the people are going into the hall for dhyanam, for the meditation. So we had to get up and sit up while they all went in. Anyway, so when we would come here for the holidays, whether it was Navaratri, Christmas, whenever the schools were closed, we were here. And the responsibility that my guru gave us, and you and your cousin, we were terrible. There were a whole lot of guava trees. We would keep climbing those trees. So to get us off the trees, he told us to go and help Kasturi. So he said, go and help him. So we had to go there. And when we went there, poor Kasturi, with all his love, he would put one old shirt on us because the ink would splash. And he would ask us to roll that, and when the sheets came out, we had to dry it on this kind of black stones. And then the next day we had to staple it. The next day it had to be folded. And the next day the addresses had to be put on and it had to be. So one particular day, I'll finish in a couple minutes with this story. One particular day, Swami, after darshan here and after the bhajans in the Prashanti Mandir, walked all the way to the Sanatana Sarathi office, which I told you was on the way to the general hospital. He walked in. It was just a bunch of rooms with these black stones and everything drying there. My cousin, who was paying a truant, had left after the first 3 rolls. I was a little bit more scared, I think. So I was still there. And my face was smeared with this black ink and clothes splashed. So Swami walked in. Dayyama Bhutama, he said, are you the devil or what are you, some evil? Why are you all covered in this ink? So Professor Kasturi very lovingly said, no, Swami, she has been helping me. She is the only one who has been helping me since 10 o'clock in the morning. But this was a great thing because I wanted to escape the bhajans and go and do something else. So this was a good excuse. So I had been there. It was not completely unselfish in my... So Swami pinched my cheeks and said, oh, you have helped so much. We must put your name in the Sanatana Sarathi. Raja Reddy, we must put, he said to Raja Reddy who had followed him. And Raja Reddy and the 3 other men and Professor Kasturi, everybody just laughed. Here I was, a 10-year-old girl smeared in black ink. And Swami's articles were the ones that were put in Sanatana Sarathi of those days. And Swami says, we must put your name. So then I thought, okay, I'm always the target because of that Sai Gita. He'll probably write something about Sai Gita and then say, I put your name. This is what I thought. But brothers and sisters, this is my SSE teacher. He keeps his word. In 2005, in a surprise, Swami asked me to speak at Sai Kulwant Hall for the Ladies' Day program, and I spoke there. The next day, my mother-in-law passed away. I had to stay back in Bangalore. After all of those ceremonies were over and I came back on December 5th to see Swami here, he called me in. And as soon as we sat down, he took out the Sanatana Sarathi that was there on his windowsill and said, see, Bangaru, I told you I'll put your name. See, your name is in the Sanatana Sarathi with your picture. And he opens the Sanatana Sarathi and there was my name. Mrs. Geeta Ram spoke on Ladies' Day at Sai Kulwant Hall. It took him 35 years to deem it that I was worthy enough for my name to go somewhere in the small print of that Sanatana Sarathi. I don't care about that. What made me feel good was my Guru keeps his word. Sai Ram, brothers and sisters. I hope you all, we are all really privileged to come under his name, to work and take his name with faith and self-confidence into the communities. When the time is ready, whoever it is, whether they are devotees or not, will be ready to receive your message in whatever way you can take them. And I hope with his blessings you will all be able to do so. Jai Sai Ram.
I'm just melting away. Brothers and sisters and I could listen for hours, but I promise to you, the program is going on and it's going on to be sweeter and sweeter. And we will have the chance to listen to Gita tonight. Now to proceed. You are my everything, dear Swami. You are my loving Lord of all. I see you, I see you, I see you in one and all. Thank you for granting us your darshan. Thank you for blessing us all. I see you, I see you, I see you in one and all. Sai, I surrender at your feet. You take my troubles all away. You give me hope, you give me light. Love you, Lord, with all my might. You might remember having heard these words already. And this was yesterday, and it is the lyrics of the theme song of this educational conference. And I'm very, very happy once again to ask our dear brother, Dr. Srinivas Ragan, to come forward and practice this song once more with us. So please welcome Dr. Srinivas Ragan.
Sai Ram, everybody. Thank you once again to Geeta, Mrs. Geeta Ram, for a wonderful, wonderful talk. Thank you. We had a practice last night with everyone from the group, and we are preparing for our presentation tomorrow. Today I'd like to dedicate this song to all the people of Nepal and to those who have suffered great disasters around the world. We have great suffering from many calamities, and we pray to Swami and offer ourselves as instruments that we may be of service to all the people who are in these conditions. Today I will sing the song in Nepali first, and then we will sing once again, if we have time, in English as well. Timi mero sarvasva pyaro Swami, Timi mero sabhai bhanda pyaro Ishwar. If you have sing Nepali, please sing with me. Timi mero sarvasva pyaro Swami, Timi mero sabhai bhanda pyaro Ishwar. Madikchu, madikchu, madikchu savai matimi, madikchu, madikchu, madikchu savai matimi. Dhanya bacha milai darshan diyo, Dhanya bacha hami mati kripa karyo, Dhanya bacha milai darshan diyo, Dhanya bhacha hami mai kripa karyo. Madikchu, madikchu, madikchu savai matimi, madikchu, madikchu, madikchu savai matimi. Ma Sai charanam ma sharan parshu, Timi mero savai dukha haran garshu. Ma Sai charanam ma sharan parshu, Timi mero savai dukha haran garshu. Timi malai asa ko kiran danchu, Timlai sakhe jati maya garchu. Timi malai asa ko kiran dinchu, Timlai sakhe jati maya garchu. Madikchu, madikchu, madikchu savai matimi, madikchu, madikchu, madikchu savai matimi. I see you, I see you, I see you one and all. I see you, I see you, I see you one and all. You, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. We will be singing this song in chorus tomorrow, and the chorus line, I see you, will be sung in different languages. I wanted to show you we have 13 languages that it has been translated into, including Chinese, Croatian, English, Hindi, Indonesian, Japanese, Nepali, Russian, Spanish, Tamil, Telugu and Thai, and a few others are coming as well. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. So let's stay on the ladies' side. Just as Swami did when he started Balvikas, just as we heard from Gita. So let's get on with our second speaker for today. Very experienced as far as Satya Sai education is concerned. Very experienced with Swami and having got all his love too. I'm speaking of Dr. Lalin Reddy, and I would like her to come up onto the podium now for her talk. Dr. Lalin Reddy is the current director of the South African Institute of Satya Sai Education and also a member of the Satya Sai International Organization Education Committee. Lalini has been active in the education wing of the Satya Sai International Organization of South Africa since 1988. when she completed her first SSE teacher training. In December 1989, upon her first visit with her family to Prashanti, she was granted an interview with Swami wherein he spoke to her about the purpose of education. Since then, she was an education coordinator and a youth coordinator in the Satya Sai International Organization and participated in the International Satya Sai Conferences on Education and Youth at Prashanti Nilayam. In 2004, she became a SSE teacher trainer where she focused on leadership and the teacher as a divine instrument in the mission of Satya Sai. As an associate director in the field of biotechnology and food technology, Lalini has implemented the human values over the last 28 years in her teachings at both the Durban and the Cape Peninsula universities in South Africa. She was invited to present a paper at the United Nations Conference in 2010 in Atlanta entitled Integrating Human Values into the Curriculum. Lalini's keynote, entitled Teachers Transform the World Through Educare, tracks the origins of Satya Sai education of focusing on the blossoming of the character and personality of the child to its current role in promoting global peace and harmony. Please welcome Dr. Lalin Reddy.
Gananam chva ganapatikam havamahe kavim kavinam upamastramastramam Jestarajam brahmanaspataha nastrunvan nutibhi sadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebir Vajanivati Tinama Vitrayavatu Ganeshaye Namaha Saraswatye Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. I offer my pranams at the lotus feet of our most beloved Swami Sadguru, Lord of the Universe, dear respected members of the Central Trust, Prashanti Council, the directors of the Satya Sai World Foundation, the esteemed members of the World Education Council, and most of all, dear officers and Satya Sai spiritual education teachers from around the world, I greet you. Om Shri Sai Ram. As I'm sure is the thought in all of your minds, how is she going to talk after Sister Geeta Ram? How is she going to utter any word of any sense? Swami, as you heard, 26 years ago, he asked me in the interview, together with fellow South Africans, what is education? What is the aim of education? What is the essence of education? Just the same words that Dr. Narendranath Reddy mentioned in yesterday's opening message. I'm hoping and praying, Swami, that whatever I say will give some indication that I've learned at least a tiny little bit of what Satya Sai education is over the years. Swami has given us, before he left his physical body, this whole vast ocean of knowledge and wisdom for us to grapple with. He has left this legacy for the next eons and eons to come, for people, devotees like you and I, to carry his message, his authentic Satya Sai, Educare, Balvikas, SSE, SSEHV, whatever you may call it, into the future generations and eons and eras to come. He has said his mission is 1,000 years, and it shall be. The fact that most of you have troubled yourself overcome hurdles upon hurdles, fought for your visas, fought for your tickets, come with sometimes with no luggage, no exhibits, floating somewhere in the aeroplane. But you have come with that firm faith because at some time or other, He has touched you. To those of you that are novices and first-timers to Satya Sai Educare, I say to you, even this is a tiny little experience in the vast knowledge and wisdom area of Satya Sai Educare. Even though you have put your tiny little pinky finger into Satya Sai Educare, let me assure you from the experience, and I'm sure my elders around me and experienced officers will bear me out. Once you have dug your tiny little finger into the vast sea of Satya Sai Educare, you are taken for life. He will continue you on the spiritual journey of bliss, with the ups and downs, like Sister Geeta said, but with firm faith in Swami and Swami's legacy, and listening to all of the wonderful stories of personal experiences. Let me assure you, He will not let you down. Never, ever. Not our beloved Sai. Let me share a few distinguishing features of Satya Sai Educare SSE. Sister Geeta Ram has already mentioned where Balvika started. So I will briefly show you one slide in a few seconds, just to show you how it has moved from the Mahila Vibhag now to the education wing and to the institutes to carry Satya Sai education message, not only to devotees, but to the world community out there. And they receive Satya Sai Educare with open arms. The training outcomes for a Train the Trainer program. Dr. Paul Dahl mentioned that there is a need for a very, very powerful Train the Trainer program. This aspect also came up yesterday in our workshops. And then to share with you some of the main or key components of Satya Sai Educare program. As you know, starting in 1969, where Swami asked mothers, and you know the names now of the mothers who were asked to relate stories to their children in their little village or their own children. From 1970 to 1980, India was blessed to have conferences for Balvika's teachers. It was only in 1981 that Swami, in his divine compassion for overseas devotees, had the first World Conference for teachers. Amongst you sitting out here, I know there are many teachers who joined this conference in 1983. My late father-in-law, Mr. M.C. Reddy, my husband, Mr. Patrick, Ms. Marianne, Ms. Bernice, Ms. Dr. Vijay, and so many others were part of this wondrous early conferences where Swami himself gave the lectures. In 1985, Swami introduced a new term for Balvikas for the overseas community, which we now know as Sai Spiritual Education. And with this also came, in his compassion, he coined another program which had slight modifications, which would be palatable for the community out there who are not Sai devotees, but would greatly benefit, and it would prove to be a transforming tool for the world. I can vouch, together with other institute directors and other facilitators of SSEHV throughout the world, this is a fantastically successful program, taking Swami's authentic message to all, to solve the social, economic, and other ills of the world. It's proven already to be so powerful. Now in 2000, the Balvikas has moved from SSE to Lokvikas. It is no more confined to the walls of the home or the children and the classroom, but it has the power through the Educare concepts that we introduced, such as the 5 elements and its relationship, interconnectivity with the 5 human values. The origin and the creation process, from whence did we come, where are we now, and where do we go? In keeping with the theme for the World Conference this year, love is the source, love is the path, love is the goal. The 5 senses, the 5 human resources, all of this show potential to lead us from the small, humble Balvika's classroom towards nation building and global peace. These, dear delegates, are some of the main components that still are quite solid as the foundation of Bal Vikas, SSE, Lok Vikas, or any other program, whether it is education at schools or SSEHV in other areas, such as with the parents and other community groups. There are three principal members: the child, of course, the parents, of course, but key to any successful program, as Sister Geeta has indicated, is the teacher. The teacher, sometimes called guru, and more recently in educate terms, called that divine instrument. So how sharp are we? All of us sitting here, we need to ask ourselves day by day, how sharp are we in our deliverance of the Satyasai Sai spiritual education? As you know, the principles remain constant. The Bal Vikas program is built on these two solid principles, and that is to promote this concept and understanding and assimilation that of the existence of God, in whichever name or form you may refer to it, and the divinity of man. Our duty is vast, great and powerful duty that we have. Swami has laid that on our hands. He has confidence in each and every one of us that we can do it. So do not be afraid. We have to take the Bal Vikas, which is not just an education for children. It is the essence of all spiritual knowledge. It is educate for Lok Vikas, blossoming and keeping balance in the world and the universe. The imbalance thus far, as caused by external education, is balanced by the scale of human values, and thus the imbalance can be corrected and balance can be restored through such a program. To attain the illumination and level of the mind, balance is a prerequisite. So I would like to suggest some key outcomes for a possible Train the Trainer program or SSE teacher program. That the teachers need to understand the evolution of Bal Vikas, but also to understand the various components of educate and how they interconnect in bringing about the balance of elements in nature and how we can contribute to the sustainability of nature. I was here in 2011, April. I had no reason to be here. There was no particular festival. April in Puttaparthi is extremely hot. Generally, you would not come, overseas devotees. I was here without any apparent reason. I was here to witness Swami's Mahasamadhi. There were just a very few individuals in the ashram. And there were many reporters saying all sorts of things about why Swami is taking Mahasamadhi at this particular time. And I just knew in my heart of hearts that Swami had taken upon his fragile body, material body, all of the ills and these imbalances in the elements of nature caused by who? Not the animals and the plants, but by us, the human beings. So this program is key to the sustenance of planet Earth and the rest of the cosmos. Teachers will also be effectively able to prepare and present model lessons to the children that they teach using the transformation techniques that he has given us. These same transformation techniques, every day at the ashram, we experience this from morning prayers to the evening bhajans. Teachers also need to understand their very important role as divine instruments. One of the other distinguishing features of this integral education system, which is also the basis and the foundation of Satyasai universities and Satyasai schools, is to develop the 5 domains of personality, not just to fill them with knowledge, but to develop all types of children holistically. Intellectual, physical, mental, development of the psyche, and spiritual blossoming through the value-based program. But key to all and everything is the teacher who brings about transformation through being. I used to say, I'm not sure whether you would agree with me, that very often Bal Vikas teachers, and I used to do the same, take almost my whole house when it comes to Bal Vikas, pack bags upon bags, fruit boxes upon fruit boxes, and put it into my car before anyone in the family sees, all right? And I would go to the class. But I learned a very important lesson, that even without those bags of goodies to make the lesson very interesting and to gain the attention of the child really needs you. So if you went there empty-handed, but with a heart full of love, and you held the child's hand and you smiled at them, that was enough for transformation. There were cases in my experience where there were children from other classes or my class who were having serious social problems. Some almost wanting to commit suicide. But when they run to you and you hold their hand and you show that you care for them, as Sister Geetha has indicated, that brings about transformation. It is life-saving. That's how serious Satyasai Bal Vikas is. So as you know, the groups and the syllabus is very orderly arranged, and it's usually the specific role of the teacher goes according to the psychological development of the child. So the very little ones, the babies, for the Sai nursery group and the group 1, there you have to be the mother. You have to establish discipline and good behavior, which is positively required. In group 2, as has been suggested, you take the role of a teacher, almost like a school teacher, and you develop a sense of order and respect for rules. Group 3 and 4, you become a friend and a facilitator of this transformation, rather than a person that teaches content. As you know, these are the core pillars. All the beautiful networking fairs and further workshops will go into all of these. Transformation techniques, these have been given by Swami. We don't call them teaching techniques. They are transformation techniques. They are not only for teachers, they are for you who work in the workplace. They are for commerce, they are for lawyers, they are for doctors, they are for the housewife, they are for anybody. So we call them transformation techniques. Suggested content, each country would look at its local audience and will decide on a content suitable to bring out the outcomes of the program according to the age groups. Suggested examples are the Omkar. You know the scientific significance of the Omkar in bringing about a change in the cellular system of the body. The Gita Shlokas, the Bhaja Govindam, right, the essence of life. It's almost a must in the group 3 and 4. And you could link this to so many other scientific discoveries, showing the actual essence and effect of these bhajan, stories, meditation, and group activities. So the child, from the most impressionable years, should be taught to cultivate love for all. But in addition to that, I always say, and it has been shown psychologically, that the child during their very formative years, right, from the time they are in the womb till about 6 years old, they can grasp an unbelievable amount of content and attitudes from the mother and those around them. Very often, some teachers used to tell me, I can't teach this prayer, it's too difficult. This is only a 6-year-old. But I can tell you, when I taught Bal Vikas, my elder son was in the class, and my younger one was 3 years old, and he would run and stay in my class, and always be the troublemaker and try to disturb us. So it was my lesson in patience and tolerance. But at the same time, that child proved that he learned the 10 stanzas of the Suprabhatam before anybody else, and I'm ashamed to say, even before myself, the 3-year-old. It has been shown in some scientific experiments that the Chinese have a very difficult language to learn. And because the children are exposed to or are required to learn this difficult language at a very early age, neuroscience has shown pictures of how the development of the grey matter increases much more dramatically than it does with people learning other languages as their mother tongue. So do not underestimate the children. You never know which previous saint or sage is sitting in your class as well. So do not think that the child is an empty vessel. The parents, I don't think we can overemphasize the role of the parents. I myself became a Bal Vikas teacher because of my children, right? Not necessarily because I was a teacher or education. And many of you, I'm sure, can resonate with that. And very often we ask ourselves, how many children do you have? I had 21 in my graduating class. I have 21 children today as well. The parents and myself are still very close to each other. That's the type of bond that you need to forge with the parents. There's just a few slides that I want to share with you and not go into any bit of detail. But when it comes to train the trainer and when it comes to the syllabus for the group 4, I would like to suggest that the in-depth understanding of the process of creation is gone into, where children and teachers especially need to understand where it all started. In the beginning, the attributeless Supreme Brahman was everywhere. Nothing else was there. and the Supreme Being willed to create the worlds. And Swami has so often alluded to this. And we being human beings, the highest form of creation, God placed all of this knowledge in man's mind. We just have to realize it. It was from this infinite love that the duality of space and time came about. And from this sprang the 5 elements as we know them. So the entire cosmos was created from the supreme sovereign energy, that principle of love, that word love that we've heard so many times in the last few days and throughout, I'm sure, at Puttaparthi. So from radiation through this primordial sound of Om came creation. Radiation, vibration, down to materialization, from the subtle elements to the more gross elements as we know it today. It is important also to give some attention to the human being or the human workshop, to understand that there is such a thing or concept as the superconscious mind, which is the heart of human values, the Atma, called by many names, that conscience, that all wisdom and that all knowledge center, and below that, the intellect, very important inner instrument, which contains 90% of Atmic energy. And then that conscious mind, which very often we use and we overuse, and neglect to recognize the superconscious mind. We also have to recognize the subconscious mind, wherein memories are stored of good and also, unfortunately, bad memories, many of which can influence our behavior on a daily basis. The intellect can also be likened to the Buddhi bird. I mentioned earlier that I'm aware, together with all of you, that we've been through ups and downs to get to Swami. Every time we come to Swami, each of us has hurdles. But because of our firm faith that society also notices, we reach our goal and we are all here, safe and sound. Without having faith in the Lord, we can go nowhere. That bird can soar no closer to our goal. Keep in mind the seat of human values, the cosmic rhythm, wherein we need to practice unity, purity, and harmony of our thought, word, and deed, one of the highest teachings of the Vedic scriptures. And Satyam, the leadership, that aspect which goes beyond time. And mind and sense control. We need to always keep this at the back of our minds and fully understand the various ways in which we can bring this out in our students. You may have heard of Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiments on water crystals and how he has shown that our very thoughts, not even words, can influence water crystals. The ones which are exposed to good feelings and good thoughts come out beautifully, almost like gems, but the ones exposed to ugly words and ugly thoughts, it's been shown, come out deformed and malformed. But words like thank you and gratitude come out beautiful. So, dear delegates, I'll leave you with this last slide to show you that the 5 Ds, that powerful 5 Ds, is what you may use to do a self-audit on you, the teacher, and on the children in front of you. So Swami has given us the blueprint to take the world forth and re-establish the elements for which he left his human body. When Swami left his body, I phoned my son in Cape Town from here and said, Sai, his name is also Sai, Swami has left us. Sai is gone. Now we have to be the Sai in the world. That's our challenge. Thank you. Om Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, Lalini, for this talk. Thank you. Now, brothers and sisters, let's turn to the men's side, to the gurus that are gathered over here. I mean, we knew already that we always are some steps behind and that we never really catch up with the women. What I've learned now is that I've even been brought up in the wrong language. So what a pity, and the same fate is for our next speaker. But nevertheless, I'm very sure that you're going to enjoy what Mr. George Bebedelis, whom you have probably heard already in Sai Kulwant Hall some days ago, is going to present to us. But before this happens, let me just have a look in your faces, because we are more than halfway through the morning program, and I just want to make sure whether you are still smiling. Because I've learned from Leonardo Gutter in his talk that if we don't smile, either we have some problems with our stomach or we did not understand Swami's message. So please welcome George when he's coming up to the podium with a bright smile. Mr. George Bebedelis has been an active member of the Sri Satya Sai International Organization and the Sai Center of Athens in Greece since September 1987. He started teaching human values from 1991 for children and for adults. He has been certified as a teacher of Satya Sai education by the European Institute of Satya Sai Education since 1992. He also served as a Seva coordinator for the Sai Center of Athens till 1998, and subsequently served as Satya Sai EHV coordinator, and he was national Satya Sai EHV coordinator of Greece between 2001 and 2004. George received his certificate as a teacher trainer, and since then he is a faculty member of the SSE Institute. He has conducted Satya Sai education seminars in various European countries such as Austria, Belgium, Bosnia, Bulgaria, Czech, Croatia, Denmark, Estonia, France, Germany, Greece, Holland, Hungary, Italy, Latvia, Macedonia, Poland, Romania, Russia, Serbia, Spain, Switzerland, UK. I'm quite sure the time will come that it is easier to name the countries where he didn't teach. George presently serves as the National Council President of Greece. And now, without any further ado, please welcome George Bebedelis.
Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, dear Sai educators around the world, a loving Sai Ram to all of you. When I hear all these introductions, all these qualifications that we have, I think something is missing, because the one qualifications that unites us all is that we are all devotees of our beloved Master. And this is actually the source of all our strength and inspiration for everything that we do, because we are in the spiritual path, we are inspired by Swami, and of course, later, we decided that it is very important to spread this so unique knowledge around the world, because all we see that the world nowadays needs a change, and the only change will come with a spiritual transformation. It will not come with any new system, political system, economical system, or any of these things. It is a time of a new revolution, I will say, because this planet has seen many different kinds of revolutions. I think this is the moment of the history that a spiritual revolution has to take place if we want to live in a happy planet. It is my great pleasure and honor to have the chance to share a few thoughts on Sai spiritual education with all of you. As my brother Manfred mentioned, for many years I have been serving as a Sai teacher, and I have been experiencing the great joy of passing the valuable treasures of human values to young boys and girls. For many years, I have been serving as well as a teacher trainer of the Institutes of Satya Sai Education of North and South Europe. For many years, we had one institute founded by late Torbjörn Merger. I'm sure all of you know him, remember him with love, because he was a pioneer in the field of Satya Sai education. Now we have a new institute for South Europe since 2009, and these two are like one, actually. We work together like with all other educators around the world. And yesterday this was pointed out very nicely in the introduction, that the main purpose of this meeting is unity. Come here to know each other, to unite our love, first of all, and then our knowledge, in order to proceed in cohesion, as Brother Suresh Govind yesterday presented. The first C, if you remember, was cohesion. And actually, I thought that this I would like to share with you today, something that unites our work, either we call it SSE or SSE HV, is the teachings of Swami. In the institutes, in Satya Sai institutes, the training is done according to the international framework and core syllabus, which has been developed in order to ensure coherence and correspondence in each training programs conducted in different parts of the world. So I would like to go through the essential core tenets which identify and distinguish Satya Sai education from other values-based programs integrating secular and spiritual education. Maybe my talk, I didn't know what Dr. Lalini will say before, but it is somehow as a continuation of her talk, but I will stay more and I will elaborate a little more in 4 core tenets, as we call them, and that we include in our seminars, because we have this structure, and I think this structure can be, we heard yesterday from Dr. Paldal that still there is not an agreed syllabus for SSE courses. I think this syllabus that already exists for the institutes can be the base for, because there all the principles of Satya Sai education are included. And these 4 core tenets is, as already you heard before, unity of heart, head, and hands, what we all know, 3HV. This is the first one, and maybe the most important. Then, second one, sealing on desires. Third, unity of faiths. And fourth, unity in diversity. I start with the first one, unity of heart, head, and hands, 3HV. The Satya Sai Educare program is built on the premise that there are 3 fundamental domains related to human nature: the physical, the mental or intellectual, and the spiritual. Present-day education focuses only on the first 2 of these domains, emphasizing the development of physical skills and intellectual competence. However, in Satya Sai education, emphasis is put on the domain of spirit or higher intellect or heart, which is the origin of human ideals. When all the 3 aspects are equally developed, aligned and coordinated with one another, the human personality is refined and uplifted, thus manifesting the fundamental values of truth, righteousness, peace, love, and non-violence. The above cardinal concept has been given time and again by Bhagavan Baba in the form of the formula EHV equals 3HV. The meaning of this formula is that education in human values is the threefold development of the domains of heart, spiritual domain, head, mental domain, and hence physical domain. This concept of 3HV is identical with the well-known tripartite division of human soul initiated and analyzed by the great Greek philosopher Plato in his renowned book, The Republic. According to Plato, individual and social justice, well-being and happiness consist in maintaining the three parts of the soul in a harmonious coordination where the spiritual part or the heart or conscience has the ruling authority. As Satya Sai often advises, don't follow the body, don't follow the mind, follow the conscience. In Plato's words, I quote, righteousness is not related to the external activities of man, but its sphere is a person's inner activity. It means not to let the parts of one's soul do any job which is not their own. One has to set them in order according to their own function and to become his own master and friend of himself. He has to unite the three parts of his soul as if they were the three basic keys of an octave, low, high, and middle, and create a harmony out of them and make himself one out of many, self-disciplined and internally attuned. In accord with Plato's words, Satya Sai underlines, the mere human form is of no use. It is by his pure thoughts and actions that one's humanness is revealed. Hence, all the studies that are pursued should be related to the body, the mind, and the spirit. Today's education stops with concern for the body and mind, without proceeding up to the spirit or heart. True humaness consists in the unity of thought, word, and deed. In Vedantic terms, this unity is called Trikarana Suddhi, that is, purity of the three instruments. The ancients considered this purity and unity as a form of yoga. Manasyekam, vachasyekam, karmanyekam, mahatmanam. That means those whose mind, words, and deeds are in complete agreement are great souls, Mahatmas. In order to convey in a simple way this message to his university students, Bhagavan Baba makes a wonderful wordplay with the famous abbreviation MBA, Master in Business Administration. He explains that M stands for mind, B for body, and A for Atma. That means that the real master is he who has aligned these three parts of his being and he has become a master of himself. And then Swami playfully adds, talking to his boys, now you are a master. After you get married and you become a mister. Second one, sealing on desires. Swami advises to reduce waste of money, food, time, and energy. The surplus should be used in order to alleviate the suffering of people in need. It is essential to organize activities of self-service with our students, so from their very young age they learn to sanctify their lives with noble and purposeful undertakings. Service is the best way to put a limit to desires and expand the ego, transforming the little I to we and finally to he. Today our world is in a deep crisis, economical crisis. I come from Greece. The last months, Greece has become the most famous country of all the world. Unfortunately, for the wrong reason. For this big economical crisis that we have there. And what is the main cause of this crisis? To my opinion, the cause is very simple. It's not necessary to have PhD degree in financial studies in order to understand this very simple cause. PhD, according to Swami, means permanent head damage. And often we see these well-educated people producing big volumes of papers, but empty in content. So, what is the cause? The cause is very simple: misuse of money, lack of ceiling on desires, spending, not producing. Then, what is the balance? Negative. So we have to learn to control the desires, ceiling on desires. This sounds simple, but it's so fundamental nowadays. The word economy, I would like to make a comment here, is Greek, and it is compound of two terms, oikos and nomos. This makes economia, economy. Oikos means house, home, and nomos means law, order, justice, right management. So the original meaning of the word economy in ancient Greek and in modern Greek is order in the home. However, the word oikos in Greek has also a broader import, meaning society, nation, or motherland. So the word economy, in its broad sense, implies a set of rules, laws, and values through which the right administration of a society is ensured. In this sense, economical crisis is not lack of money or material goods, but it is the crisis of laws and values which assure the well-being of society. That's why Swami says 3 things we have to remember: Daivam-priti, Papabhiti, Sanganiti. That means love of God, fear of sin, morality in society. It is very essential in a world which inflate and multiply continuously desires to help the children develop the essential quality of inner contentment. To do this, they have first to build the mansion of their lives on the unshakable foundation of self-confidence. That means faith in the divine self. Here I would like to make a comment. Self-confidence, when we speak in the spiritual texts, it's different than the self-confidence in psychological meaning, because the original term is Atma Visvasa. This self is the Atma, it is not the individual personality as it is taken in psychology. So self-confidence is faith to the divine self, not the individual personality, as it is taken in psychology. So first we have to develop this kind of self-confidence, then on this we put up the walls of self-satisfaction, then the roof of self-sacrifice, and then we can experience the bliss of self-realization. The third core tenet, unity of faiths. The third core tenet of SSE Education is the unity of all faiths. Faith is the cornerstone of the spiritual life. Swami says, faith is the very life breath of man. Without faith, the body is a lifeless corpse, savam. With the life breath of faith in it, the body is sivam, divine. It's not necessary to elaborate more on that. We all know this fundamental principle, but I would like to say that it is very important to teach this principle of unity to the young students from very early age, so they are open to it from in the first years of their lives. The best way to do this is to tell them stories from all spiritual traditions of the world and celebrate with them the major festivals of all religions in the same spirit of reverence and honor, as Swami has taught us to do. We have to do the same to children, because values exist in all different traditions, in all religions, in all spiritual organizations. There are values. What is the uniqueness in SSE Education? The unity of faiths. If you go to the Christian church and you say about Buddhists or Hindus, they don't accept. But this is the difference here. We say in the bhajans, Allah, Rama, Krishna, Sai. This is the uniqueness of Satya Sai. And this brings us to the fourth core tenet, and I'm close to my end, unity in diversity. In his Guru Purnima discourse the other day, Swami said, "A man with a dual mind is half blind." The ultimate purpose of education, we don't have to forget this, is to take us beyond the duality of this world. Dr. Reddy said yesterday, with the anugraha of the Lord, we have to go beyond the 2 grahas, not the 9 grahas. And these 2 planets that are the obstacles in our life is raga and vesa, pleasant and unpleasant, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, profit or loss. Our mind has to stop moving always between these 2 opposites. Samatvam yoga uchyate, says Lord Krishna. Equal-mindedness is real yoga. Dr. Reddy mentioned also yesterday the story of King Janaka that the Greeks played. We played here in this Punachandra auditorium. Swami was sitting there, we were playing on the dice. It was 19 years back. What is the best example than this? This story with King Janaka, who falls asleep, he sees in his dream that he is a beggar, then he comes out, he wakes up, he sees the palace, all the comforts, the queen, beautiful queen, everything so nicely decorated, and then he says, is this true or is that true? Then Sage Vasistha is coming and explains to him that this is not true, that is not true. This is a daydream, that is a night dream. Only you, who is the witness of both these states, are true. So behind the illusory appearance of this world, there is only one reality without second. Ekam eva advitiyam Brahma. This is a saying that Swami uses to repeat often in his discourses. It means that there is only one, and this is Brahma. But Swami does not make only philosophy. The uniqueness of Swami, as we hear also from Mrs. Gitaram, all these beautiful stories which make spirituality alive. And I would like to share a story now. It was not with our group, it was with a Spanish group. Swami came out in the lines, Spanish people were there, everybody, you know how it was at those days, everybody was waiting for an interview for Swami to come and ask. So Swami went there. Where are you from? Spain, Swami. How many? 20, Swami. Then Swami said, no, 21. I am also with you. Next day, Swami comes again out. He goes to the leader of the group who conveyed this story to me. He said, Spanish people, yes, Swami. How many? 21, Swami. No, 40, because I'm with each one of you. Next day, Swami comes again out to the leader of the group. How many? 40, Swami. No, one, only one. Like this. And I think we have to find such kind of ways to teach our children, not to be very boring. Like when we read the papers in this. So that we have to be very innovative, of course, with young children. And I'm sure that all of you are practicing that. So the experience of this unity in diversity is very much connected with the realization of our true self. Because only then we shall realize that the same divinity, the same Atma is within all. Then the human values come out naturally because Atma is the source. Out of source, not out of force. Then only we can really inspire our students. Again, this was mentioned yesterday, that there are 3 kinds of teachers. All of you know that. Complaining, explaining, and inspiring. But regarding this, I would like to share one more story. Like with the children, I think the center of the lesson is the storytelling. So some storytelling now. It is connected with that experience that I shared before 2 days, when Swami called me and he had a discussion with me. This was a long discussion. I shared only a small part. Then another thing that Swami asked me, he asked me, what is your job in Greece? I said, I'm a teacher, Swami. Good. What do you teach? I teach engineering, Swami. I am an engineer. This is my profession. Then Swami asked me, what kind of engineer? Civil engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer? I answered, mechanical engineer, Swami. And then the very well-known question came. Good. How many types of teachers? I knew the answer, because another time Swami had told me. At that time I didn't know, now I knew, I was prepared, and I was very happy that Swami asked me this question because I would be ready to answer. So immediately I said, 3, Swami, 3 kinds of teachers. Oh, good. What is these 3 kinds? Complain teacher, explain teacher, inspire teacher. Good. And then he gave me a difficult question. He looked straight in my eyes and he said, what kind of teacher are you? Then this was very difficult. This was not something to read. You had the Lord in front of you. I was on my knees. Swami was there, and he asked me, what kind of teacher am I? Of course, I'm not a complaint teacher. This is out. I'm explain teacher, but because my job is this, to explain how the cars are working, how the refrigerator systems are working, mechanical engineering. But also, I wanted to answer Swami, inspired teacher. I didn't want to say Swami, just explain teacher. But how could I say to Swami in front of him, I am inspired teacher? This will be egoistic, a little arrogant, to say in front of Swami, I am inspired teacher. All this was coming in my mind. Then I thought, I will say to Swami, I try to be an inspired teacher. Immediately, this was stopped also, because in an interview, another time, Swami told me, don't try, do. So I didn't have this option to say to Swami, I try to be an inspired teacher. So finally, very quickly, I decided and I said to Swami, Swami, I am an inspired teacher with your grace. So like this, we made it half-half. I do my job, but the credit goes to him. So ego is not there. And Swami was happy. He looked at to his student and he said, you see, very good answer. But then Swami corrected me. He said, inspire, yes, good. But explain also is important. So explain and inspire are the 2 wings of Satya Sai Education, which is a well-balanced program of integral education. Yesterday, I finished Sai Ram. Sri Naganand mentioned the well-known story of Abhimanyu and Padmavyuha, taken from the great epic Mahabharata. Abhimanyu, when in the womb of Subhadra, heard from his father, from Arjuna, only the instructions of going inside Padmavyuha. Unfortunately, he was caught up and killed there because Subhadra fell asleep, and the boy in her womb didn't hear the instructions for the way out. Abhimanyu's story is a perfect example on how much partial knowledge can be destructive to an individual and society. Modern education is such a partial knowledge which gives us only the instructions of entering this worldly samsara, which is a real Padmavyuha. It gives us no clue how to go out. However, educare is the knowledge we need in order to come out. We have to give this knowledge to our children from the very young age so that they can avoid the fate of Abhimanyu. As Dr. Reddy mentioned yesterday, quoting Swami, educare is chavu leni chaduvu, an education which takes us beyond death. So we don't have to forget this important spiritual aspect of educare. And we don't have to feel asleep like Subhadra. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapyavarani Bodhata, as Katha Upanishad says. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. As I mentioned before yesterday, the journey of life is not linear but circular. Science is only semicircle, but spiritual knowledge makes the circle complete. So we have to come back to where we have started. The soul becomes what it originally was, that is pure love. So our great task as teachers is to remember our true self and to realize our divine nature. The sole purpose of Satya Sai Educare is to remind us who we really are. This is indeed the purpose for which the Sai Avatar, our Master and Lord, has come. This is indeed the purpose for which he has given to the world Satya Sai Educare, which has been very aptly described as the Veda of 21st century. Now I close, and because a part of storytelling, group singing is one of the 5 teaching techniques that we all the time use, and taking inspiration from the example of Brother Srinivas, I would like to use his guitar and close my talk with a song. And this song speaks about this reminder, remind me, my Lord, who I am. It is very fit to sing it together. And today I discovered who the composer is. Composer is not other than Brother Srinivas. So give him a hand. And this is, I love very much this song. I've heard here in Prasanthi Nilayam in Christmas celebrations when English songs are sung, and I really love it. So I would like to sing it with you. Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am. Remind me. Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am. And of delusion, remind me, my Lord, who I am. I am truth, I am peace, divine bliss. Prema Rupa, remind me, my Lord, who I am. I am love, I am love, pure love. Remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, remind me, my Lord, who I am. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Oh, Sai Ram, thank you, Brother George. Oh, remind me, my Lord, of the schedule and the time running. I told you this morning that day 2 might be a challenge. Now imagine what a challenge it must have been for our last speaker, who was sitting here on the dais yesterday all day long, being printed in the program and not having the opportunity to talk to you. And even today he is still sitting there. And it is a dear brother of mine coming from Germany, so I know him very well for many, many years. And nevertheless, today I learned that he must be a master of perseverance. So, and I'm quite sure that all of you would just skip lunch in order to listen to him. So, let us not waste any time and let us introduce Mr. Rainer Bender, who made his first trip to see Sai Baba in 1981. He has been devoted to him ever since. He translated the book Man of Miracles by Howard Murphy into German. Mr. Bender spent 5 years in the Foreign Teachers Service in Bilbao, northern Spain, teaching and learning the Spanish language and culture. In 1988, Mr. Bender began to develop the Satya Sai group in Bremen, in Germany, and since 1990, he worked on building up SSE HV in Bad Segeberg in Germany. He has served as the regional SSE coordinator and received the Sai Teacher Certificate over the last decade. He has served in various capacities, including teaching, teacher training, disaster relief, medical camp, and attending teachers' training in Burg Breuberg in Germany. He has also served as the editor of the German Sai letters and served as the regional SSE coordinator. Rainer gave a talk on Radio Sai, which you can listen at Conversation with Mr. Rainer Bender, National SSE Coordinator from Germany. Please, where is he? Welcome him.
With love and reverence, I offer my humble and most loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Lord, Lord of Love, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Respected elders, distinguished guests, dear sisters and brothers, a loving Sai Ram to all of you. It is indeed a great honor and joy to me to be given the chance, finally, not as master of perseverance, but maybe Mr., because I'm Mr. Bender, Mr. of Perseverance maybe, to be given the chance to participate here and contribute to this holy Sai Spiritual Education Conference, in the abode of highest peace. Amazing grace, how sweet that sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. As a senior SSE teacher from Germany, I have been blessed to witness the expansion of Sathya Sai educational mission for over 30 years since 1981. I invite you to join me on a little retrospective and hope you will encounter something useful for your own practice. I will follow a chronological order, bringing to your attention 13 points, all of which I recall with deepest gratitude to Bhagavan. Point 1. Bhagavan called me to his divine presence in the year 1981. I had heard about this avatar in November 81, and the only thing I wanted to know then was, are you really God? That was my only and innermost purpose, to venture then on that first pilgrimage to India 1 month later. I knew how stupid it would be to ask this question personally, are you God? What could anybody answer? How could I afterwards be sure? But once, when I was sitting for darshan, I had forgotten about my question. He was approaching, and I heard a very clear internal voice saying, yes, and the eternal universe. It came unasked, so surprising, so determined. Here, first time in Prashanti Nilayam, I had the feeling of, I have arrived. At home, finally. Prashanti Nilayam was from then on destined to be my spiritual home, and I hoped I could return and come as often as I could in my life. Point 2. At that time, I had been a state school teacher for a few years, eagerly looking for strategies how to survive in that stressful profession. So then somehow I got a chance to participate in the European Education Conference of 1983 in London, where when I arrived in the Congress Hall, Genevieve and Victor Kanu were building up their stands displaying SSE materials. That impression put me on the track to start myself collecting all kinds of useful lesson materials, stories, songs, quotations, and practice them at school. Then Sathya Sai education became for me the only sensible professional way and perspective, and my sense of life. Point 3. I then experienced the beginning of the German Sai organization in northern Germany, collecting hand-typed copies for Sathya Sai's discourses for so-called study circles, which were really more like debating sessions at that time. Later, meeting on regional levels took place still with our children then being the problem, the discipline problem, because we did not know what to do with them. We had no program for them. Point 4. Then in the late 80s and early 90s, the seminar and course programs were developed, and we discussed a unit system, how to bring all the different topics into an optimal order. This was a lively time of experimenting. It gave us the feeling that we could build up to a good extent our own Sai organization. Such was our identification with our eager research. Point 5. In the year 1987, the SSE Institute was founded by Torbjørn Mayer from Denmark and his wife Marian, and the course system began to become stable and more elaborate. We had regularly advanced teachers' trainings and European meetings. Bhagavan's educational mission in the form of a cooperation of SSE Institute and German Sai organization has brought about in Germany a broad panorama with offers for everyone: adults, private and professional, devotees and non-devotees, office bearers and teachers, children and youth. Everybody is addressed and invited to take up the next transformational step and going forward together with other Sai brothers and sisters. With the foundation of the SSE Campus Germany in 2009, the course system expanded and reached out to professional groups, and lately the campus made regional offers as well to reduce expense and travel hardship for the participants. These regular educational seminars have been, at least for me, the heart and the motor of the Satya Sai organization in Germany throughout all these years. To me, this cooperation of SSE Institute and SSO Germany is an ideal partnership model to ensure quality, structure and focus for all Sai educational activities, a real blessing and gift to our country. To provide the financial basis for educational activities, even a foundation, the Sai Care Foundation, has been set up by our SSE Campus Director and Sister Petra von Kalinowski. Point 6. I have to give credit to an educational conference in Prashanti Nilayam of the year 2008, where Sai education worldwide was shown in an exposition here in Purnachandra Hall and in the Global Overview book. I remember that I felt great joy, inner satisfaction and gratitude seeing for the first time the expansion of Satya Sai education worldwide, and it became my conviction that it would go on expanding in the future. This conference was a strong motivation for me. Point 7. In 2010, my wife Rita and I were entrusted the National SSE Coordination. I heartily give thanks to our Sai teachers team in Germany. We all know Swami's etymology of team. Together, everybody achieves more. A team is more than a group. In a team, there is cooperation and trust and mutual appreciation, expressed in love and action together. Teamwork transforms work into joy. My wife, Rita, and the German Sai teachers team are presently on our annual German summer course, and I would like to send our loving greetings and pray for Swami's blessings for them. Point 8. The German National Summer Course has a tradition of about 25 years now. 5 years ago, it has developed from a more family-oriented meeting into a more SSE-oriented course. As it has been in the beginning. It is the highlight of the annual Sai Teachers Cooperation and is always carefully prepared during our 2 annual National Sai Teachers meetings. The topic is always the organization's motto of the year. In these 2 national teachers meetings, we prepare the summer course, and after we evaluate it, always having one special teaching method in deeper focus. This year, that means presently, the male youth is engaged with the Atma Seva Foundation, a foundation of selfless service affiliated to the German Sai organization. And the female youth is with the rest of the summer course in our traditional youth hostel. The separation of gender with the youth up to 18 years, though controversial at the beginning, has definitely brought a clearer spiritual focus to the courses. The youth is happy to be in their own gender groups, with their own specific topics. It has now become more of a Sai spiritual summer course. Point 9. Last year's Serve the Planet motto was Children Our Future. Indeed, we had in recent years focused intensively on our children on all meetings. We took great care that they could participate more actively. We decided to have them sitting first row with all meetings. The motto was Children First Row. We let them bring their musical instruments and introduce their favorite devotional songs. This worked so well that it became quite normal for them to have their guitars, drums, and violins with them and take joy in playing their instruments and do lead singing. The teen youth is additionally included in the preparations of their meetings, and they now introduce their own projects. Furthermore, we found children and teen youth love to be involved in service activities. They naturally like to serve. Not only here in Prashanti Nilayam on pilgrimage do they like to serve in the canteen, but during the weekend seminars they go and sing in senior people's residences and help in the youth hostel. They feel and say that this kind of seva activity really makes sense. During the zonal pilgrimage of 2014, after our concert, the children did Narayana Seva in Shed 38. They came out full of bliss and serving so many with palm leaves and dishes and looking into so many grateful faces. Once a 7-year girl said, "I could explode with joy." Point 10. This year's first national seminar was on the 2nd of January, due to false booking at the hotel reception. Some devotees said, "You better cancel. Nobody will come. They prefer the holidays." But Swami had a different plan. In short, the inspiration that came was New Year's festival with Sai. When the youth heard about this plan, there was a firework of ideas, and so it happened. This New Year's festival with Sai became one of the happiest events of all the years. The hall was decorated as to our New Year's tradition, and the SSE SSO seminars were given during the day, and in the evenings we had joy and fun program with drum sessions, Sai quiz, Indian dance, singing performance, jugglery, and much more, organized by our German teen youth. Sometimes Swami seems to put us in a hopeless situation to then make a real highlight out of it. Point 11. Parallel to the National Adult Course seminars of SSO, we always give SSE classes to children, youth, and for the toddlers. Toddlers is the tiny children between 0 and 5 years of age. We have a well-worked-out Sai Star program. I can cut this short here because we have a presentation of this topic in the fair today. The little Sai Star parent groups are happy to have found a model where the families can participate as a whole and at the same time study Swami's teachings. These groups are very successful in introducing and keeping the young families inside the Satya Sai organization. Point 12. To come to a close, with Bhagavan's educare philosophy, the avatar himself renews the message of the divinity of man, and we are made aware, especially with the motto of this year, that divinity is love, as source, as path, as goal. What a joy for a teacher, for an educator, a parent, a child, to see love again being reinstalled into her central role in education, and last not least, into everybody's individual heart. We all know, but we cannot recall often enough, Bhagavan's proclamation, "I have come to tell you of this unitary faith, this spiritual principle, this path of love, this virtue of love, this duty of love, this obligation of love." And we know there is no other religion, there is only one religion, the religion of love. Point 13 and end. To finish this game, I would like to recall the SSE pilgrimage of 2011. It was a regular German summer course held in Prashanti Nilayam under the motto, "We sing your holy names." Pilgrimage to Prashanti Nilayam are, I believe, the most transformational of all educational projects. This one had about 30 meetings on national and regional levels to prepare, and we were 150 adults and about 50 children. The pilgrimage was prepared and organized by the SSE wing. Children were introduced into the topic of the unity of religions, and there was a regular family sadhana program at home, which consisted in singing the devotional songs of the world religions in the families. Gisela and Gesa Sebastian with the Munich Center team did the whole concert preparations. These were not only rehearsals, but exemplar lessons in Satya Sai education for all of us. I remember one special major rehearsal weekend, which was in Bavaria on Easter Sunday 2011. We were about 120 participants there. After singing the whole Easter night in the morning, we had to convey the message of Swami's having left the physical body. Hearing this news together in our practice hall, we were all shocked and some burst into tears. We kept then going singing throughout the day. Then we unanimously took the decision that we would not end nor change the pilgrimage, but keep on going and doing our preparations and go to Prasanthi Nilayam in coming August. Nobody's flight was cancelled because of this. Singing then before Bhagavan's Mahasamadhi, our devotional songs brought into the still, sorrowful and mournful ashram an atmosphere of joy and relief. Last not least, it was our children and their prominent role in the first row and their actively and heartily singing the devotional songs. The teen youth in the end was allowed to have a visit in Swami's Institute of Higher Learning, and they could put questions. They came out very impressed, inspired, and respectful. With this glimpse back to the German SSE pilgrimage of 2011, recalling the determination we had to bring up and the joy that was the gift from it, I would like to end this little speech humbly repeating my gratitude to our Lord of Love and praying once again for Swami's blessings for this holy conference. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, dear Brother Rainer. So as you all know, the first half of the day you are more or less listeners. And in the second half of the day, you are challenged to be active. This time, we already want you to be active before lunch, which means that I now need your full concentration and afterwards your full discipline. First of all, some announcements. There will be special lines for lunch again in all the canteens. And by the way, if I show up, let me just step in between. Second, please now, don't start rising and rushing through the hall before I tell you. And when you rise, please avoid and honor the carpet. What we are going to do before we go to lunch is we are going to have our photo session of the conference. And I will explain afterwards how this works. And in addition to that, there is another preparation to be done for the afternoon program. And many of you might be used to the situation that there is an exhibition going on parallel to a conference like this. This time, this is far more what you can expect. This is not only an exhibition, this is something active, something interactive going on. And not only here, it will proceed for years. And this needs some explanation. And that's the reason why I ask our dear brother Srinivas once again to introduce you to the afternoon program, which is called the Network Fair.
Sai Ram, everybody. For once, I don't have my guitar, so thank you for participating and coming up with the fair. The team for the networking fair has put together a wonderful program. We have 45 teams from all of our zones. Every country is represented and you'll get to see it. Also, we have 41 stations, but you don't have enough time to go through all of them. So we have a suggestion that you work with your country team and make sure you distribute your team among all the stations so that you can learn and cooperate later. The idea of this is more than an exhibition, is to interact with the people who are all represented here. We have very senior educators who are going to be present there. Some of our speakers will also be there. We have the Sathya Sai Institutes, we have SSE programs from around the world. We also have young students who are here representing the SSE program itself. We have 3 stations from the USA that are staffed by the students group 3 and 4. So I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful time. Just to make sure that we have a semi-orderly process going through the fair, we have colored bands for you. So these are colored bands, and these are called slap-on bands. So you just get them and slap it on your wrist like that. If you slap a band on, then you will also get a map with the names of the stations and a map of the fair. That's what you're seeing there. You'll get a map so you know where you're going, which station is in which location. And you notice that the 4 colors, 5 colors, there are 5 colored arrows. Those will match your band on your wrist. So those are starting points for you. So if you have the yellow band, then start on the first on the left-hand side, meaning you start the fair from there. How you go, how fast you go is up to you. However, each station has a short presentation. They expect you to spend around 10 minutes per station to get the maximum value from each station. It's up to you to work together. This is again an exercise in cooperation. As I said, it's semi-structured. We don't want to make it too rigid, then you get, you won't have the freedom. It's up to you. The idea is for you to talk and network with each other. At the end of this session, we have a special guest who's going to be speaking to us about the Sri Sathya Sai Vidya Vahini. Satyajit will be here. We will announce at the end, so that we'll be coming back. The chairs will be seated the same way throughout the afternoon. So when you finish the fair, you'll come back and be seated for his presentation. So that is about the fair. Also, we have our evening program with our special keynote guest speaker, Mrs. Sai Ram. And for this evening session, it's a Q&A session. Of course, it's going to be a challenge to be working with all the 500 delegates in a close interactive session, which would be nice. However, what we are facilitating for you is the opportunity to write down your questions and bring it back after lunch so that we can gather and work with our speakers so that we can have a good session with all of you. All of this information, including the bands and the fair handout, will be available at the welcome desk as you leave for lunch. But please don't leave right now, because we're going to take the photos, and then when you leave for lunch, you will be taking your handout about the fair and the band. Is that clear? Just one last point is we have a special VIPs and distinguished guests here. We'd like to do a quick run through the fair with them. So if you have a station at the fair, we request you to stay back after the photos so that we can do a quick run through with our special guests, since they have many other things that they're going to be doing this afternoon. So I request once again the following. These are the bands. You'll be picking up these bands on your way to lunch. This is the map of the fair. You'll be picking this up on your way to lunch as well. And also there'll be indexed cards, about this sized index cards that are there those are for the questions for our evening program. Okay? Thank you very much.
Okay, let's get ready for the photo session. It will go like this. First of all, we are going to have a photo with our distinguished guests of the Prashanti Council, the Sathya Sai World Foundation, and all the other distinguished guests we have mentioned before this morning. And then, after this photo is done, I will call you zone by zone, and I will put some zones together, because the number of delegates is rather small, so that we have equal numbers. So please keep seated at the moment, and then obey my commands when I tell you when to come forward in order to get your photo of this conference. Okay, I beg your pardon, you need a little bit more of endurance.